All right, we're back for another episode of the Home Gym Podcast. I'm Jason, or Man Who Parks in Gym, and I'm here with my buddy Mark, better known as Flex Marks the Spot on social media. Mark, what's up? What do you got going on today? Anything?
Not too much, actually. Just getting used to the hostile takeover, now being actually a part owners of the Garage Gym experiment. So that was part of our negotiations here, is that we are actually 50% owners now. So if anyone has anything negative to say, you will be blocked on all the social channels. No,
Yeah,
kidding.
right. Yeah. That's funny. That would have been a funnier spin if we had thought about that sooner, to tell people that no, we did we took them over.
Yeah.
It wasn't the other way around. But yeah, so speaking of Garage Gym Experiment or Garage Gym Radio or whatever, today is Tuesday, and today was the first day of the live Neural News with Nice Like Mike and Jake Jaworski. I listened to a little bit this morning, and I had to go I had a doctor's appointment, so I'm sitting in the doctor. So I was watching this live podcast or this live feedcast thing with no volume, and it kind of, didn't make a lot of sense. So I ended up closing it down. I listened to it a little bit later, had a couple of points from Jake specifically that were a little triggering for me. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to listening to the rest of it because that is one of those publications that I actually do when I get it in my email. It's one of the few kind of junk mails that I actually open and skim through, and I don't know why. I don't know why I do. I guess that's why I'm here, right? Because that's the tendencies that I have, is to look through that of all the emails that come in. So anyway, did you have a chance to check it out, or you just been tied up?
Yeah,
with work all
no.
day? Yeah.
Yeah. I've literally just got off of work and barely had any time to just throw in a quick run. So I haven't even really get my workout yet, my real workout. So that'll be right after this. So
yeah. So I know we've talked a lot about cardio and running and treadmills and things like that lately. I've been on mine a little more lately, and I'm okay today, but the last couple of days, like my freaking hip flexors, I've never had an issue with my hip flexors feeling like they were on fire, but I did a run. Didn't think it was that crazy, but yeah, they've been really tight. I've been walking around like doing that like old man, stretching them everywhere I go thing. Anyway, but as far as treadmill things go, we got a little bit of response to our last message from some. There was one in there from Carp talking about the reason when we had mentioned how they don't warranty them once they're in a garage or something like that. He was talking about, in the comment section, he had made a comment about how it is related to garages being on a slope.
Slope and water damage and drainage type
water
issues.
Damage or premature wear on the belt and things like that. So, okay, well, good to know. I mean, interesting. It's one of those things that, like I said, I don't think I would have really made that association. I wouldn't have even looked. You know what I mean? I would have just put one in there. I would like to have it in there if I had room for it, but the one I got is huge. And I had the folding walking pad in there for a little while. It's just, I move things around. My gym has changed around quite a bit over the last few years and stuff, so don't have a lot of that in there now. But anyway,
I do have a treadmill update though on my treadmill static issues. So, I found a temporary solution. First off, I finally reached out to customer service. So Horizon Fitness customer service is actually really good. I guess since the last round of reviews and stuff that I was reading online, their customer service, or I don't know if the company as a whole, has been taken over by like Johnson Fitness or something like that.
Sounds hostile.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe Horizon took over Johnson.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So customer service was quick. They, I guess they're sending me a new grounding, or they already sent me a new grounding cable. Sent me a new set of like handles, also the part that I'm always like shocking myself on. And they've already scheduled a technician to come replace those for me. And all of that was done, within the course of like 2 business days. So I'm just waiting for the guy to call me and actually like schedule an appointment to come, install that stuff for me. So that's good. But in the meantime, I did find a temporary solution. It's like these anti-static wristbands, I guess, for like when people are like working on electronics and stuff. So it has, you're like kind of grounding yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a literal wristband, and you connect it to like a metal portion on the treadmill. And that's exactly what I did. And I have not shocked myself since I'm wearing that.
Where did you get that idea from? Like Amazon or something? I mean, were you just Googling around with stuff?
Yes. Yeah. So I was looking at like anti-static spray for like my clothes again. So maybe I just grab something wrong. I was like, or maybe there's like a specific anti-static spray for like a treadmill belt, and then this was something that showed up as anti-static. So I was like, huh, think that might work, and it worked. And honestly, like being tethered to the treadmill with that little wristband isn't that big of a deal because it has quite a bit of slack, but it's not the point where it's like dangling, so um it
Yeah.
worked surprisingly well. So
I'm surprised
if
the
anyone,
anti-static
yeah,
cocaine didn't work, but if the wristbands don't, maybe they could try switching brands. Um, all right, well that's cool, man. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that. I guess it makes sense and pretty cool that it works at least temporarily.
yeah,
And
it's work. I mean,
and
it's
that's
supposed
the
to be
thing.
for
That's
electronics, but works for treadmills.
one of the things about the home gym, and I think about this. Like I do a lot of stuff out there that just it looks ridiculous. Like if I was in a commercial gym, and you would look absolutely ridiculous with those bands tethered to the thing. I don't even know. I haven't seen them, but I can imagine, and I would probably call you a puss if I saw you in the commercial gym wearing those things. So that's one of the things that I do like about a home gym, man. I don't care. Like I've got these kind of similar to your wristband things. I have these. They were from a company called Isolator Fitness, and they're like really well made wrist cuffs, right? Like they're made to fit your wrist well. They're sized based on the girth of your bone right here or whatever. And they're just basically they have a ring and a strap that you can adjust the length of the strap and stuff. I got them several years ago whenever I was dealing with some pretty bad elbow tendonitis or bicipital tendonitis at the elbow. And I couldn't do a lot. I mean, I couldn't even hold like a cup of coffee. I couldn't do anything that required a grip. But if I bypassed my grip and used those things and hooked them up to like a cable machine or whatever, I could do, curls or flies or tricep stuff. I just felt really stupid doing it, right? I looked like a goober, felt like a goober. All the people that ever asked me about them were like really, really old dudes that would wear like those copper gloves or whatever. And so anyway, I use those at the house sometimes, and I think about that stuff, like how at the garage gym, I'll do some stuff that I never would have done in the commercial gyms. Anyway, all right. So I got a question for you. I listened to our last episode. I got to tell you, Mark, I was a little bored. So if you made it through the whole thing, bless you. We're going to try to liven it up a little bit this time. And I'm going to put Mark on the spot, and I'm going to ask him about his favorite barbells, marry, F, kill barbells. And here's a couple of just ground rules while you think about what your marry, your F, and your kill barbells are going to be. I'm just talking like regular barbells. I mean, specialty, if you want to throw like a deadlift bar or something like that in there, that's cool. I just mean not like SSBs or, the Cadillac bar or whatever. Just
Right.
talk about just a regular old barbell of some sort. And then it has to be one that's in existence, right? Like it doesn't have to be, I mean, it can be like a vintage or something that's not in production any longer or is currently in production. It doesn't have to be anything that you currently own. Just something that you could, if you were at the Arnold's or you were at Home Gym Con or something like that, you could potentially put your hands on it, but whatever. So, just a barbell. Marry, F, kill. What do you got?
So I think I'm gonna expose myself as a little bit of a fraud here.
Okay.
So I'm not a big barbell snob when it comes to straight bars. So I really don't have like super high standards on the specific like knurling and some of the crazy specs that people, really zone in on, like especially like on the home gym Discord. Like if you go to the Barbells channel there,
We'll get
it's
down
like
in the weeds.
those. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
so for me, I would say the barbell that I would marry. This is tough too because I've
Commitment issues.
I like, yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
commitment issues, ADHD training. I don't know. So it's like, okay, do I go with the power bar? Or like, what do I do here? So I think I'm gonna play it safe and just go with the Rogue Ohio bar,
Okay.
just because I do Olympic weightlifting, but at the same time, powerlifting also every now and then, but usually just general strength training. But I'm never like not doing, cleans or like snatches, like not ever going, longer than a couple of weeks without doing those. So probably say the Ohio Power Bar because it's, the 28 millimeters or 28.5 millimeter. So I don't have to worry about crazy whip if I'm squatting a bunch, but at the same time, I'm not with a super stiff 29 millimeter doing
Right.
Olympic lifts. The
Right.
knurling,
Yeah.
the knurling, it's on the one and again, I guess my Ohio bar that I have is it was from the Boneyard also, so it's not even like a real Ohio bar. So the one I had or have the knurling on it, it's not very like aggressive, but it's not like super passive either. It has just enough stick to it that I don't tear up my hands if I'm doing a lot of barbell cycling. But like if I'm deadlifting, I don't have to worry about it, slipping out.
Right.
So I'd say that's probably the one that I would commit to. The one that I would have a one night stand with and brag to everyone about it is probably, I have two of them in mind right now. I'm gonna say the Rogue Puros bar.
And just for giggles, what would have been your threesome if you could have had if you were between the two? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so the other one was the Rep Black Diamond bar.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Yeah.
have that one also.
Okay.
So I think I went with the Puros specifically because I also have one of those, but this one's like a grab bag variant.
Okay.
So it's slightly out of spec, but I've also used like a real Puros before, and it's actually I don't know why mine was the one that I got from the grab bag was discounted because it's almost identical, other than the fact that they buffed out the logo. So
Right.
there's maybe something internal that I haven't looked at that might be out of spec. But anyway, so with that one, spin on it is just a little too crazy when I'm doing Olympic lifts. Like so when you have the bar overhead and the plates are actually spinning just a tad much for me to the
Mhm.
point where like it'll kind of throw off my lifts. So there's that, and also the knurling is just a smidge too aggressive, also to the point where like if I'm when I actually am doing like Olympic training programs, I do tear up my hands pretty badly, and not just the typical spot where you tear up your calluses.
Yeah.
It's when I'm hook gripping, like my whole
Yeah.
thumb will just be raw, even if I have a callus, it'll rip off the callus from this area. So it's not meant to be a training bar, it's more of like a competition bar, so that's probably why. So that would be the one that I would not want to
Have.
commit
Right.
to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then,
Yeah. Makes sense.
and that's the hardest one because I really haven't had any issues with any barbells that I've owned specifically. I would say, I mean, probably just a boring answer is just like those cheap fitness reality ones, the ones that are
Mm.
like 32 millimeters. I don't know if they're 32 millimeters, like 30 millimeters or something like that. They're like really weird and like they just feel
Yeah.
hollow. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
I mean, after you've had a nice barbell, you can't ever go back. So probably kill that one.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that makes
yeah, how
sense.
about you?
That is commendable. So mine, I think I struggle a little bit too, and I am a little bit more of a not a little bit more. I am a barbell snob. I I am. I know. I don't know why. I'm like a snob about everything, probably. I think it's just if I was spending my money on stuff, I want to love it, especially when you start spending money on barbells and they're $600 or $700, or even $300 or $400 is not anything to just piss away and not care about it or whatever. You know what I mean? So Mary would be probably the American Barbell Chewy, only because it ticks more of the boxes than the others. And the knurling on the one that I have is a little bit gritty. I don't know how to compare to my other, but like it's good. It's a good barbell. It's a very nice barbell. It's stainless steel. I like that the sleeves are smooth, and I like the tolerance on it, on the sleeve to barbell or whatever. So it would probably be that one. I know it would like last the lifetime if I were, and not that I'm doing anything to the others, but they wouldn't. I just anyway, with it being stainless, I don't have any concerns about any of it or anything, and the knurling is good for all three lifts. Really, it's like it's a little bit not my favorite for bench just because it is a little sharper, but really good for squats, really good for deadlifts. If it was the only barbell that I had, I could marry that one and be happy. But it does do a thing, kind of like you're talking about with the Pyros bar on your thumb with a hook grip or whatever. If I were to do a hook grip, I would get calluses on my face from wiping the fucking tears away because of how painful that is for me. It would be, I get with the Chewy bar, and it over time it hasn't been, it wasn't as bad. Haven't been using it lately, but I get more, it feels like raw, like on the fat part of my hand or something, from even just from like, from like bench pressing or something like that. It's weird how it's kind of like the building calluses in weird parts of your hand, or, growing hair on the palm of my hand whenever I was using that one a lot. Not really sure what that's about, but the one that I would F would be ironically, have such a love-hate relationship with kaBOOki, old kaBOOki, not a kaBOOki Power, but kaBOOki Strength. I think I just have a hate relationship with kaBOOki Power, but we can talk about that in a little bit. kaBOOki Strength, the Gen 2 Power Bar, it's just, I can understand why somebody would say it's overrated, but to me, it's just a good kind of all-arounder. I have the nickel variant, and I do like it, but the only reason why the American Barbell kind of edged it out, even though I do prefer the feel of the knurling for every lift other than a deadlift on the kaBOOki bar, it's just the stainless steel and the tolerances, the little details, right? And then kill, I have a harder time with this. My initial response to this would have been anything that you would label as a beater bar. I just don't have enough room in my life for barbells that I don't want to own, and I don't want to own a barbell that's just some shit bag. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing anything on a beater bar, and I know people will argue with me that even the landmine stuff I can destroy. I'm not doing anything on a beater bar that I'm not doing it on a landmine or anything else that the beater bar will hold up to, that my $700, $600 barbell or whatever wouldn't hold up to. And I know shit happens, shit goes crazy, whatever. I'm not that worried about it, to be honest with you. I think that I just don't. So that would be my kill. But then I also struggle with I have a Rogue, what's it called? Like C60V or CC or something. I don't know. It's like a 5-foot barbell. It's not rackable. I don't know. Here's why I think I bought it. I think I bought it because it is Cerakote and has like chrome sleeves, and it matches the Easy Curl bar that's Cerakote or whatever, right? And I had a dedicated preacher curl bench at the time, and I convinced myself in that weird mental gymnastics that we do to convince ourselves that another barbell is a good idea, even though it's probably just a decorative item on the wall to match the other barbell that we have. I convinced myself that it would make a really cool straight curl bar. It doesn't even make that. It's too long for that to actually feel good. It feels about like a rackable curl bar does. You know how it's like not quite balanced, feels long and weird, and it's just not as like, I don't know, tight as what a regular curl bar does. Well, that's kind of how this is, but with a straight variant. And then the knurling stops too soon. And so your hands are actually like, and it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, you can still use it. You don't need knurling for that, whatever, but it is a little bit for a self-proclaimed barbell or knurling diva. It does kind of bother you a little bit whenever like half of your hand is on the knurling and half of it's on the non-knurled part. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, this thing sucks. So
you said this is the non-rackable one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
yeah, I have the rackable shorty one.
I have the stump, and I love that thing. Like, I know Jake, when I was talking earlier about how Jake mentioned something that was a little triggering for me, that was him talking about the short barbell. It's a barbell with short sleeves. So like, if I could take any elements, if I could take like the kaBOOki bar, but have it made by American Barbell with their specs, but with the kaBOOki knurling, and then put the short sleeves on the Rogue stump bar, like that would be my end all be all barbell for where I am right now, what I've been doing. And Jake said that barbell was for moms and daughters, I think is how he put it, right? Because of the short sleeves or whatever. I don't use bumper plates. I can fit on the stump bar. I can still fit 3 45s and still have a little bit of room. And I put that I've got it set up on the Bulletproof VTS. So it adds a little bit weight. So it's a 35-pound barbell, but then when you put the VTS on that, I can't remember, it brings it up to 42 or 41. I don't know, 40, close enough, right? And I can still fit, I'm not benching 315, you know what I mean? So I can still fit that on there. I can do quite a bit of lifts with it and stuff, as is, and it doesn't take up a lot of room in there. I don't think I'm ever going to need 16-inch sleeves or whatever, you know. So it's really good for a lot of the stuff that I do. I do like it, and I would like to have. I mean, it's the stump is the stainless steel Rogue Ohio Power Bar, so it's still a really good. If I never felt any other barbell or whatever, that one would be my Mary barbell. It is a great barbell, like you had mentioned, the Ohio bar. It's kind of your, go to. It's your baseline for what barbells are measured against, you know. And so anything outside of that is really nitpicky and down in the weeds. So.
Yeah, and to the Jake's point about it being for moms and daughters. So I mean, like you said, you could fit 315 on there. I would say for probably like 90% of the U.S. or worldwide Olympic weightlifting population, even with bumper plates, you can probably fit, most of what you're going to be lifting on that bar also, which was the reason I picked it up was because the way I had my gym set up at the time, I didn't have like a lot of wall clearance on either side. So I wanted to be able to do my Olympic lifts and not have to worry about, dropping the bar, having it take a bad bounce and, like make it a hole in the wall or something. So another reason you might want a shorter bar.
When I first got it, it was the same thing. So my setup used to be that when I first built my home gym, I had the folding Rogue wall folding thing, and the only place I could put it in my garage was like I had like 2 feet from the edge of my rack to the edge of the garage door. Like it's going parallel to the garage door, right? And so I was like, oh, that'll be fine. I'll just open up the garage door and I'll load plates in there. Well, I'm not opening the garage door every time I want to change my plates or whatever. So I did get to this kind of like, it was like trying to olay. I felt like a bullfighter or whatever, trying to like olay the plates, 45 pound plates on like sideways and stuff, or just do it with like a hand and get it started and stuff. It was a little tight in there with a regular barbell. And so the shorter one in that setting for sure was like, I felt like I had all this room in there, you know? And so I really did. I think it's great for tight spaces. So yeah. And I think he was just saying, I think what he said was that he gave it to his mom. I made up the part about it being moms and daughters. I don't think.
Okay. I was about to send him a very strongly worded message now.
Yeah. Nah. So yeah, that's it. That's cool. I feel like all of your barbells, the MFKs.
Oh, right. And I didn't go through my dream one either, I guess.
Yeah. So mine
one.
Yeah. Mine was basically the stump with slightly different. Yeah. And yours?
Yeah. So I don't know why I brought that up because it's really not anything crazy. I think it would probably be 28 millimeter bar. But I would have the Ohio bar knurling, and I would have a center knurl, a very passive center knurl. So it wouldn't do you any good for like squatting, but if you're doing any sort of like cleans or anything, you would have just a little bit to kind of give you a little bit extra grip when you have it up on your chest or when you're front squatting. So it would be 28 millimeters, very passive, super passive center knurl, Ohio knurling. I would have probably wider collars also. I mean, I probably wouldn't be squatting with this, but I like to having the wider collars. And this one is probably going to be the most unpopular opinion. I hate smooth sleeves. I absolutely hate smooth. I need grooved sleeves.
Okay.
So yeah, I know that's triggering for some people.
Is it the tactile? Is it like the tactile or like the audio, the sound or whatever that you prefer that, or
the ASMR or whatever? No.
Yeah.
It's specifically because I don't like having to always like put barbell clips on all the time. So it just adds a little bit of extra friction so they don't just slide around like crazy. So first off, I never, which I don't think most people ever should, be benching with clips, especially if you're not using safeties. So for that reason, it kind of makes it so that when I am when I am benching, I don't have to worry about the sliding, when I'm not using clips, and even when I'm squatting and I'm warming up, I don't like having to put my clips on and off while I'm working up to my working weight. And especially with Olympic lifts, I mean, I don't think there are too many, if any, that I know of Olympic bars that have smooth sleeves.
Mm.
But for, like when you are kind of working up to your working sets, you're not putting on your clips all the time. So that extra little groove on there just keeps your plates a little bit more in line while you're lifting, assuming you're not, really lopsided with everything.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I learned that lesson the hard way in the commercial gym. I think I told you this story. I hope I don't
Yeah,
just tell you the same stories over and over again, but I
yeah,
was
we
lifting,
might have talked about it.
I was benching at a commercial gym. They don't have safeties on those things, right? And I was doing
Mm.
kind of a routine lift, felt something pop in my shoulder, and I was like, I'm looking around trying, and everybody's wearing headphones, man. Like nobody, like you make a point to not make eye contact with people in a commercial gym. And I was just like, I am going to die under my 135-pound bench press or whatever it was, And yeah, no, finally I was able to rock it over. I did have collars on there, so I didn't lose, I wasn't able to just dump the weight and that kind of thing, but I did end up like rolling it down and, you know, I, it, sure, I rearranged some innards or whatever, rolling the weight down my waist and all that stuff, but did manage to come out of that one alive. But anyway, so yeah, that was fun times at the commercial gym. Learned my lesson about not putting clamps on for a bench press if you don't have some sort of safety in place. Otherwise, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and anyone else, if you have what's your 3 barbells that you would marry, kill,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
have
your
a one night
MF,
stand with?
yeah,
Yeah, MFK.
or if you have any near death experiences with
Yeah, let us know in the
or
comments.
without using a collar, I would like to hear about that too. So I was this is something I was wondering about also. I was driving through my neighborhood. I have I live in a neighborhood of about, I don't know, 350 something houses, right? It's a pretty big neighborhood. It's one of those where I could probably, if I had, I could definitely touch two houses at the same time. If I had two more arms or whatever, I could touch all four probably in some spaces. But my neighbor just a few doors down, his kids were outside unloading. They had just bought, didn't want to be a creep, but they looked like they were unloading from a trailer, like one of those selectorized like ab crunch machines or whatever from a gym somewhere or from marketplace or something. And they do have quite a bit of equipment in their garage. Like sometimes they leave it open and I'm like, trying to check it out to see what they've got. I know I've seen a rack, I've seen a leg press, treadmill. Now they've got this, and I know he's had a rower in there and maybe some other things too. But I was thinking about that as I was driving past. I was like, man, there's another guy. I one time sold a Rogue deadlift jack to a guy in my neighborhood. I've got another guy that just lives like a few doors down. I talk to him often, and he just recently purchased the new FM6 or whatever from Rogue. There's
Mhm.
another guy down the street whose garage is like, it's a pretty immaculate, nice kind of a CrossFit style gym with, outfitted and all Rogue stuff. And I'm just sitting there thinking, there's another one that's got like the PRX, and then another one just a few doors down from that I've seen poking out of the garage. They have the Rogue folding rack and then also the Echo GHD. And I'm like, I wonder how many more of these are. And I wonder if there's anybody else in my neighborhood that's like, I can tell from like the people that I've spoken to that I know they have garage gyms. Whenever I'm like talking to them about it and stuff, like I realize like I am that guy. You know what I mean? Like the reason they don't talk to me about gyms and stuff. But I'm like, I wonder if there's anybody else in my neighborhood that's like this, balls deep in it or not. But is that common? I mean, do you have that in your area? Do you live in an area where you see neighbors, and do you have a lot of other gyms around? And you're even, I mean, these are like doors down. You know what I mean? I'm like, how do these people? I guess we really
Ye-
are recluse. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, I mean, not that I know of. I know anytime I see something on Marketplace that's in my same town or even the town over, I get
Mm,
pretty excited.
yeah,
So it's probably not to the same level that your
I
neighborhood is there.
I feel like if there's ever anything good on Marketplace, it's my ad. You know what I mean? Like if I'm scrolling through and I see something good, I'm like, oh yeah, well that's mine. I'm selling that. But yeah. So anyway, I've got quite a few gyms in my neighborhood. they just don't ever sell anything. I sold a few things to people in my neighborhood, but anyway, yeah, I thought that was interesting thought that I've got all these people around me that have home gyms, and here I am on the internet talking about home gyms, and I got people right around me that I don't ever interact with or engage with. I don't know what that says about me, but here we are. So let's move into our next little segment or whatever, Tales from the Slot Bucket or whatever we want to call it. It's basically where we kind of have looked through in the last few days or whatever of some of the posts or questions or comments or concerns or anything that have gone on in the community. And before I do, though, one of the things I was going to add, and I don't know why, but my dream barbell, I think I would even go as far as to say I would like for it to be manufactured by Fringe Sport, but I want it to be their like Fringe X, somebody that manufactures barbells in the USA, so I can not only have a USA made bar from Fringe, that I would also get a lifetime friendship with Peter Keller, because I think that's what you get when you purchase barbells from. He seems like such a solid dude, man. He's always in the community. He's given
this episode
people
is not sponsored by Fringe Sport.
Not at
way.
all. Yeah,
that was...
I don't. Yeah, I don't have it. I'm being silly, but I also I really do. I recognize and acknowledge this guy owns the company or runs the company or has some whatever he does with the company, and and he's also a major part of the community, and I think that's really cool. So
yeah, speaking of Peter Keller, man, I guess perfect transition here. So the fact that he's like so active in the Facebook group is really, really cool. Like, and if you're not in the Facebook group, I mean, this isn't really an ad for that either, but for the GetRx like tornado arms, somebody was posting that they emailed GetRx about, hey, are you guys gonna actually offer these as a standalone item? I know you guys have been reconsidering that, and I guess GetRx replied back saying, hey, there's no plans for that. Sorry about that, whatever. And then Pete was there in the, or I guess I'll call him Peter. I don't know if I'm probably not on a first name basis with him, but in the comments he was saying that someone might be working on a universal option. So maybe a sneak peek at
it
future
sounds
product from Fringe.
It sounds like that they have something in the works, and those are the Jake has those things, right, from GetRx or whatever. They're like, they go on and they kind of spin like this. Is that right? Is that what those are? I'm thinking of the right thing, right?
The tornado arms.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. He might have them.
Maybe not. Okay.
I haven't really been chronically on Instagram lately. Been more trying to take advantage of TikTok here before it's gone forever. So
is that happening? Do you think that's really happening?
It's more likely than not. But anyway, so yeah, the tornado arms. It's like the actual like arm, like functional trainer arms, kind of like the free motion, where they attach to your upright. You can maneuver them. You can move them at a 90-degree angle in either direction, up, down. You can move them together. Yeah. So
he has the little short T-Rex arms. They're like, but I don't know. They're on. I don't know. I keep seeing ads for them. I thought it was GetRx because I thought GetRx is the one that like tags me and stuff, and I'm like, how do they even know I exist? Like, where did they get?
Oh, it might be because they do tag. Maybe
everyone. I'm thinking. I don't know. There's somebody that has something that has like this little. It looks like a T-Rex arm, and it spins, and it's got a pulley on it, and whatever. It looks cool, but so. Let's see. So another one of the things that came up, and this I saw this on Joe Gray's site, or he had shared this on Instagram or YouTube or something like that before. I saw it on the community also. But this new cable attachment for the Freak Athlete leg developer thing. I'm not a huge. We talked about the Freak Athlete before, and I'm not just a huge all-in-one guy, but that does look like a pretty good solution for what sucks about 99% of plate-loaded leg extension machines. So if you have a cable machine, or like in Joe's case, you've got the $3,000 Beyond Power Voltra thing or whatever that you can connect it to, it does look like a really cool way to fix that. I'm surprised that more. I mean, this is like advanced COVID, like home gym hack, right? Like in COVID, people who had access to the plate loaded, like the Titan or the Valor Fitness one that you had or whatever, and had some sort of a cable system, whether it be like the Spud pulley or something like that, we were hooking these things up to that. I mean, there are still, that hack is still in existence or whatever. I'm just saying, I am
Yeah,
surprised that this is like
it,
a
it
store-bought, ready-made hack, right? This is like
yeah,
they've integrated this into their product now. So
yeah,
other,
those posts used to do numbers on online. You would post something like that, and
yeah,
they'd go crazy.
yeah,
People would get so excited.
yeah, that's how I found the internet. As well, I had posted, I it was one of those things like I was doing that, and I was like, oh, post this burner, because I was like trying to figure out how do you tap into this like Instagram thing, right? And I was like, here's a burner video, and I put it up, and somebody had shared it. It was that's kind of how. And I don't know, maybe there are still people who do this, but that's kind of what social media content was for a short time there, was just somebody would post something. Other accounts like Garage Gym Experiment or some of the other bigger ones would see it. Then like the next day they would like repost it and tag you in it, right? And if you got tagged in their repost, you would like blow up. You know what I mean? Like, or, that's how it was for me for a few days or whatever. And that was one, like you said, that if you posted that, but somebody that was me. That's where I got like I think I've earned about 150 follows, and all the other 3,000 I got were from that one post that somebody reposted, and that's all their follows. That those people just forgot that they followed me that day. I think haven't logged back in or something. But anyway, that's pretty cool. I thought it was a cool approach to that, and also I thought it was a little bit interesting that maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen that hack integrated into like a leg developer system where it's like that's just part of the design. You know what I mean? I've seen it hacked, but I haven't seen it as part of the design.
I think it's more because like most of these units they're either tacked on to a bench,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they're like a standalone machine that really isn't meant to be moved around and move it close to your cable stack, right? So that's probably the big thing there. But with this freak athlete solution here, it's meant to be wheeled around. It's pretty easily movable. Makes sense. And I'm pretty sure Joe's actually he's the one who pitched that idea to Freak Athlete also, and they've been working with them too.
That's really cool because that guy is a wealth of knowledge. He's, his reviews and stuff are so well thought out and well written, and he covers every stone, you know what I mean? And I am glad to see, he's been in the home gym for over a decade. He's got a lot of experience with a lot of different stuff, and he spends a lot of time using the stuff whenever he does and stuff. And he's also open to, in my experience, he always seems really open to feedback from other perspectives, and listens to and looks for and things like that. So I think that's really cool that he is able to work alongside companies like that and help make products better for people. There's a difference between, in my mind, like you're kind of like home gymmer, right? Like what he's doing there with that is home gym. I mean, even take out the Beyond Vultra thing. That's a little bit extra. I mean, maybe that's where home gyms are going in the next few years or whatever. I think you and I speculate. I think everyone speculates on that, not just you and I, but that there will be a bigger presence, for tech in the home gym space. And he's kind of one of those guys that's pioneering that. But regardless, I think that even with us old school cable stack guys, or even the kind of Spud Inc. or Home Depot pulley on a weight hanging from it or whatever setup, will be able to benefit from that. And that's kind of your typical home gym or regular home gym kind of a thing. So one of the other things that I had seen, or that kind of caught my eye in this, was it not as so much as a question or a comment or anything, but one of my buddies, I'm not going to mention his name, but he recently ordered like 10 of these. This is one of those things that just absolutely kills me. And you can tell me I'm an old man, and I'm going to expose myself as that here in just a second. But he bought like 10 shelves or something like that from Rep. And with their shelves, they're prepackaged or whatever. And each shelf comes with like 2 wrenches, right? And so he posted this lot of wrenches that just looks like this shit pile of like 20 or 30 wrenches. On one hand, it's cool whenever companies like give you that tool, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I hate it because I already have whatever it is. I already have the tools. I've like researched it before to make sure I have the tools. And then I order the tools like on Amazon or something beforehand so that I have them ready whenever the thing's there. And I'm never going to use those like stamped out. I mean, these may be nice. I don't know. I'm just using this as like an example of one of those things. And that kind of transcends home gym equipment, even into like when you're building like your IKEA furniture and they give you that little, Allen wrench to put it all together or whatever. Like, I hate that shit. And then I just feel this like overwhelming sense of guilt for throwing it away. That's a new thing for me, like in the last decade or something, like how wasteful we are with stuff. And like that thing was what kind of triggering for me, to see all those wrenches in a pile that are, I don't know, they're probably going to sit on a shelf or something, but
Yeah.
they're probably going to
So,
go in a landfill
so
wherever
he
away
ordered,
is.
yeah, he ordered like a big set of like shelving. Is that what that was? Like he
Yeah.
like custom ordered that or whatever, and or like pieces and kind of
Yeah.
built out his own little thing.
Yeah. He ordered 10 shelves and they send 2 hardware packs per shelf. Each hardware pack has 2. So he got 40 wrenches sent to him because they're prepackaged, right?
Okay.
This is
It's with the hardware. Okay.
Yeah, when they package it in China or whatever, and then they send it in it just shows up here in a crate and it's already prepackaged and all that kind of stuff. So
Okay,
every
yeah,
shelf,
I'm looking at the picture. Okay, yeah, so yeah, these wrenches, yeah, I have a few of these, and I mean they're fine, and I get why they do it because a lot of times the hardware that you have with especially these overbuilt racks,
yeah, there's
it's not standard in a lot of tool sets,
it's
So
a big. The only reason to own that socket or that wrench or whatever is because you've got this giant 32 millimeter or whatever it is nut. I get it also. I do. And it's one of those, it's a catch-22, right? If they didn't include it, you'd have every bitch on the community page complaining about not getting tools. You know what I mean? Like that's the expectation when you have a big bolt or whatever, but
yeah,
I get it. I'm in the minority here. I know I'm the weirdo I've got the tools. I'm buying the tools. I don't want those tools. And
you're also in your garage. So like with me, whenever I order something, like it's like a big old thing, getting it down to the basement if it's, not a broken down into pieces, like in the box or multiple boxes. And then once I, get everything, out of the box or whatever, I'm like a little kid, I want to start putting that thing together right away. And when the tools are there, it's great, because I start doing it, but then about halfway through, I'm just like, why am I using this? So I've bought all the specific sizes for everything, like I have them all, so now I have to go get them. And at that point, I'm like, why didn't I just do this from the beginning? Because I've spent, double the amount of time, thinking I was saving time, trying to assemble this with these cheap tools that came with it rather than, just getting the stuff that I already had. So, I mean, like, I guess to your point, I get why they're doing it, but, yeah, this is a little bit overkill. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a Go Green initiative from a rep here is maybe not pre-packaging all the hardware, but maybe at the warehouses, or not pre-packaging these wrenches, with the hardware, and maybe in your warehouse or something, every order that you ship out, just ship out a pair, like, look at what was on the order, what size of whatever you need, and, just include that in there, maybe that would be a better way to approach it.
Yeah. I've run into it with hardware too. So when I built that little upright attached to the wall, I've got some feet on it, some rogue feet. I went from I was desperately looking around for hardware whenever I ordered the stuff, and I was trying to see if anybody had any just spare hardware laying around because I had just gotten rid of a whole bunch of it out of the closet. I was trying to clean my life up, right? And so I ended up just ordering, I think they sell individual kits or whatever. I ordered I don't know, 8 or 16 or however many I needed of bolts from Rep. And then I learned that the feet that I bought or the cross member or the upright, something that I bought also came with them. So I went from not having any hardware to now I've got 3 times as much hardware as what I actually need. And so now I have kind of a similar situation to this where I've just got a drawer in my toolbox dedicated to just these big ass nuts and bolts that I do not need. But, so if anybody needs those, let me know and I'll work something out with you where we can get them to your door. Something else I saw, man. This is again not specific. This isn't even specific to the home gym community, but I do see it a lot, probably because I spend so much time in there. I think it's hilarious when people make a post and then but they like preface it with delete if not allowed, right? Like anytime I see that in there, like I just imagine like all of the mods just sitting there like shit, you know what I mean? Like whenever they see one that doesn't say that, you know, like they're like, I want to delete it, but I don't have the permission to delete it if it's not allowed. Like I don't understand why people put that stuff in there, man. If you're listening and you're one of those, stop doing that. They're going to delete it, even if it's allowed or not allowed. I don't know. Come on, man.
Yeah, or just read the rules of the group, you know, like if you're conscious enough to type out delete if not allowed, just go read the rules and make your own call on it. If it's not allowed, it'll get deleted, you know, it's like whatever.
Yeah. And then one other little hack that I see come up. And now, if you don't know this, I think Tractor Supply Co. and Horse Stall Mats are like, or I think that Tractor Supply Co. is the official horse stall mat supplier of the home gym community. I think so. I don't know if that's official. I just said it was, but I don't know if it is. Maybe I can say it into existence. And if you don't know this hack, I see this come up a lot where people will go onto like the gym page and they'll be like, hey, I'm going to go buy stall mats if somebody has a receipt. And then somebody will post up like a receipt where they got them for like $30 or something. And then you can use that zip code, order them online and order them from like Delaware or whatever, but then have it designated so that you're going to pick them up in Tulsa and you'll get the sale price in Delaware and then buy them in Tulsa. I probably could have saved myself like $3,000 on horse stall mats if I had known that little trick. I just never would have thought.
Know that hack.
Yeah, I never would have thought to do that, but they do. People do that and it works. And it's weird that Tractor Supply even does that. Do you know what I mean? Like that they haven't even, I mean, it's like just, you know, I don't pretend to know everything about how their sales and marketing works or anything like that. You know, it seems like one of those things that they could identify pretty easily if they're
right.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's a little hack that I got from there. I know last week we talked a little bit. I think I mentioned this, that, you know, when we talked about items being damaged upon arrival and stuff. And I think I said this, I know this is the truth. I just haven't said it. I never would have thought to complain about that. And until I joined this group and saw everybody doing it. And then people, you know, talking about getting like a refund back on it. So, well, shit, man, I guess I'll just, you know, if I have that, you know, whatever, I guess I don't have to accept that they're going to be scratched up when we get them and things like that. So there are some little hacks in there, but for the most part, you know, to your point earlier, you're like, this isn't a recommendation to join the group. I mean, I feel like for the most part, you can skip it, right? You just, unless you just enjoy the few little moments that come up of some sort of comedy in there, or, you know, want to take days off with your enemies or whatever. But so, what else did we have on the agenda today?
So I think the big one was kaBOOki again. So,
oh, God, right,
yeah. So, I'll let you tee it up.
I don't know if I want to, man. I've had such a long, drawn out personal history with kaBOOki. It's like that, and I've used this analogy before with other companies, but God, it's so relevant for kaBOOki. But it's like that toxic relationship, like that crazy girlfriend that you know you shouldn't mess with, but you do it anyway for some reason. You go back and you realize real soon why, you know, you keep telling yourself it's going to be different this time and stuff. I went through that a lot with kaBOOki. I do have, you know, I think before, like when it was kaBOOki strength, I think I placed like 7 or 8 orders on barbells, which is embarrassing to say out loud, especially when I tell you that every single one of those had some fuckery with it, right? Every single one of them had something. I think there was a long time there where I had, and there's no way I still do, or maybe I did, I don't know. But the customer service girl, I can't even think of her name now, but she had told me that I held the record for the longest lead time on a barbell was the deadlift bar. And they couldn't, it took, I think it was all in all somewhere, it was over a year. I don't know. It was a long time, dude. It was a very long time of them unable to fulfill that order. And them just giving me the same. Like there was a time where it was just the same shit over and over again. Like it was
What year was this?
excuses. Well, when did that barbell come
which
out?
years, I guess?
Yeah. When did I ordered it the minute that it came out, and I was told that I would get it in 2 weeks. And then of course that didn't happen. And they just kept pushing it out. Then they ended up sending me one, and it was really bad. The nickel was bad. So they then they told me they would send me another one, and that's what took forever. And then it was like, there was like one time, I think they told me like one of the reasons they were unable to fulfill it was because of something to do with Russia and the nickel reserves. And, I was just like, it sounds so much like a Fox News headline or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
this was kaBOOki strength, right?
Not
kaBOOki power.
Not kaBOOki power.
Like,
kaBOOki power, I think.
To everyone saying that they went downhill, it's like, I don't think
they were
ever.
They didn't
that high to begin with.
They didn't get in the position that they are in now, where some other dude who has no idea what barbells are is running the company. They didn't get there because they were successful. You know what I mean? Like they were mismanaged. They were as disheveled and mismanaged from the beginning. I mean, even the same thing with like the shoes. Like I ordered those barefoot shoes or whatever, like twice, and canceled that because it was the same freaking thing, man. It was always the supply chain, the this and that was always something. It's like, I'm just, you know what? I'm not even going to mess with this. I've had enough of it with kaBOOki, and I know some people received theirs and they like them and all that stuff, but I did. And so now I have this thing where it's like, I'm so invested. I've invested so much time and energy and money and frustration in those barbells. I think that's
called the sunk cost fallacy.
That's the term,
it is, right?
Yes, it is absolutely that. But I've got the, I have the Duffalo in nickel. I have the deadlift, and then I also have the power bar. And really, the only reason why I even hang on to those three is I do like the power bar, like the way it feels. And so then I'm like, well, I've got these other two that match it, and you can't really buy them anymore, and they're worthless, right? I mean, like I feel like everybody now that kaBOOki power is a thing, and that's what it's going to be in people's minds and stuff. Thing with kaBOOki was that it was acquiring the barbell, like getting the barbell was a pain in the ass. It was very difficult. And then once you got it, it was fine. Like it wasn't, you did feel oftentimes like you bought into the hype. Like there's a lot of puffery, right? That they do. There's a lot of
duffery
that, he's a really good salesperson. You know what I mean? He's really good at overselling and under delivering. And I think that, whatever. But the barbells are good. They're fine. I like them. I like the Cadillac bar is still my favorite of that style bar. I have that one, and I also have the Rogue, which I put the straight handles on the Rogue, so I can just have that. But I do still prefer the Cadillac. I don't need all the adjustable widths. I really only need like the one that's about here. You know what I mean? And it's a good, solid, simple bar.
Yeah, so I think I don't know the history of how they came out with like every single bar, like the chronological order or anything like that. But no, I'm with you there. Like I love the Cadillac bar. That I still think it's the gold standard for multi-grip cambered bars. I absolutely love mine. I bought it twice. I bought one from kaBOOki.
I did too.
Then I bought the Rogue one, which the only reason I sold the old one, like I didn't have any quality issues with that, which is actually kind of surprising to say, was only because I wanted the knurled handles on the Rogue one, and because the bolts didn't protrude out and hit my rack.
Yeah, I did. So I actually, and that as soon as you said that, I was like, I did too. And I bought it 3 times. I bought it once from kaBOOki, and then I immediately got buyer's remorse. So what happened? I bought it, I got it in, and I loaded it down with what I was benching on the straight bar or whatever, and it hurt my freaking shoulder, man. Like I did something, tweaked my shoulder, and I was like, this thing's supposed to be, and then everybody was like, oh yeah, you got to ease into it. I was like, what? I was like, I've never heard this before. And so I got rid of it. It was also during that time when you could sell it and get your money back, like locally. And so I did that. And then a little while later, I wanted it again, and I bought it, and they did make some minor changes to like the way it was bolted on from that version, from the first version to this one. And then when the Rogue came out, somebody locally went through what I did, and they had their remorse. So I bought that one because I kind of had the same idea. I was like, man, Rogue's going to start. I don't think that knurling on that barbell is important. And I just earlier, 59 minutes ago, self-proclaimed knurling diva, barbell snob, whatever. I don't think that knurling on a cambered bar makes a damn bit of difference. It really
Which
doesn't.
you're right.
And
You're right. That's why I bought it, and I realized it didn't matter. But I was like, well,
I I
I'm
bought
here.
it. I bought it because in my mind I thought if I sell this bar again, I'm gonna want it. Whatever loser buys this is gonna think that they're getting a raw deal if I don't have the one with knurling on it. That's, you know what I mean? I was like, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this one now because I can sell. I did, it was like a straight trade, right? Like I bought that one for like 350 and then I sold my other one for 350. And so it was like, I'll just get the newer one. And that way, whenever I go to sell it, I'll have the newest version with the knurling. And even though I mean, if there was a matter of your grip slipping on that thing, which is not going to happen, the textured grip on the original actually felt better to me than the knurling does anyway. It's the Ohio bar knurling, but it's so coated with, with
Just
the powder coat or whatever,
powder
and it's
coat.
that gritty powder coat too. So it's not bad or anything like that. It's just, but it's regardless. It doesn't matter. It's like it is a tact. It's just there to satisfy home gym divas like myself who say like we want knurling on stuff.
Yeah.
But
No, yeah, and I know you said you bought 8 different bars from them, right? Like
yeah, yes,
I bought 2 transformer bars from them. So
okay,
I'm not in a position to judge.
yeah.
I had like the what is the version 3? Is that what the
I think so. Yeah, I had that.
yeah,
That
so
the one that was easier to change the stuff,
yeah, so
but
I got that one.
not the
I
X.
was Yeah, I was on a wait list for that one forever, the lead time on that one was ridiculous. I ended up buying a blemished one.
Mm,
And I mean, the pop pin, is a little bit, kind of like on one side is a little bit clunky, and it's not as the two like plates, that kind of like adjust. They're not as tight on one side as they are on the other side. I've never had any issues on it, loading, 400 plus on it. So like I didn't die using it. So I guess that's a good thing. So I never really complained about it, but that was also one of my first like big like real purchases in my home gym that wasn't just
yeah,
like, oh, when I was a weight guy, so
yeah, yeah.
I didn't really know any better and even then I guess like I don't know if they would have if that was something worth complaining about. So I got that one right. And to your point, I think Duffin, he's a great salesman because I think he also like not just him but like kaBOOki, like they had some great products, but I think they kept trying to reach that bar over and over again. And they, like the Transformer bar, like I'm going to be honest, I think it's the most overrated bar in the world. It's not that great. It doesn't do anything really well. Anyone that says they love it, I think it's probably because they don't have like a good bar to compare it against. But I mean, even then it's okay. It's just okay. It's just super overrated, super expensive for what it is. I mean, anyway, so there's that one. And oh, good.
I I had that. So I had the Titan SSB, and then I ended up selling it to buy the kaBOOki. And I felt like for me, I'm not a big. I've never been. I mean, I've gotten into powerlifting some. I have more like I have more respect for powerlifting than to do it myself. You know what I mean? Um, I so I don't know. For me, I got rid of it. I felt like there were too many things that I was like, I don't know what setting, whatever for what I'm doing. It all kind of I can feel it's different, right? If you put it on
Mhm.
the hard one and you put it on like the front squat, it definitely feels different than whatever. But I didn't ever I felt like it wasn't, I just felt like a big poser. You know what I mean? Like I'm over here, like I look like if I like just imagine, I would put myself in this big ass thing, right, with my 135 pounds or something on it, and I look like I'm wearing a Louis Simmons costume. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't need this. Is like an excuse for me to wear a neck pad, is what it felt like, and look cool or something. But it doesn't look cool if you're not, squatting heavy or anything like that on it. And so, the now I have the Prime SSB, which looks even less cool, but
Mhm.
whatever. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like it was, but I don't ever feel like I'm the person on an SSB to say whether or not one is better than another or worse than another or overrated or underrated or whatever, just because my training style doesn't demand an SSB. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the right person for that. I know that. Like if there are some, I know like the elite FTS, my friends that are, really into competitive powerlifting and stuff will swear by that one in terms of it helping them achieve some of their numbers. I've heard people say that with the kaBOOki, but not as much for like some of the squatting stuff, but like doing things like good mornings or something like that with it, and different variations and stuff. But
Yeah, and like I was kind of the same way too. Like when I first got the transformer bar, I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, but like I would use the different settings, and I was like, okay, like I didn't really have anything to compare it against. But then over time, like I ended up trying a bunch of other bars, other training styles, and things like that. And I'm like, okay, like now I actually have things like a frame of reference to compare it against.
yeah,
Because I did transition into a low bar squat as I started squatting more. So like I did definitely notice, like when I would switch to the low bar setting that bar was terrible for it, with the transformer bar. And then doing a lot of front squats for like Olympic lifting. I'm like, okay, it's actually, I think front squats and goblet squats are the only thing that the kaBOOki bar does semi well. Everything else is just bad. But anyway, so yeah, so I bought it twice, and I guess in the way I bought the version 3, and then I got suckered into buying the Transformer X because again I bought into the Duffin hype, like so saw like the promo videos, like, and the promo page for it, like how the pad is gonna fix everything. That was a big issue I had with the version 3, was the pad was not very good, and and it wasn't the pad itself, it was just the way the bar repositions the weight and the ergonomics of everything changes. Like you're either having to pull down on the handles like for dear life, so that the bar doesn't slip off your back, or you're having to push up so that it's not just like a guillotine on your neck, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you're squatting, you don't like, and you're getting close to failure there, or at least RPE 8 plus. You don't want to have to be focusing on also pulling down as hard as you can so the bar doesn't slip. So supposedly the Transformer X and the pad, the X, the squat saddle, was supposed to fix all of that. So I'm like, okay, I love the concept of the version 3. If this fixes all that, I'm all for it. Ended up buying that. Bought it like as soon as it went on sale, and again, I was just like, I don't know. I just got and the amount of messages I got when I was first posted about it, like people are like, I can't believe you fell for that again, before I had even used the bar, like,
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh yeah, I guess we'll like you said, it's like that abusive relationship. Maybe things will be different this time.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like as soon as I took it out of the packaging, like one of the knobs was broken, and like it just wouldn't adjust like correctly. So I reached out to customer service, in which I found out, like I guess later on at that point, was only the like the owner at that point, the new owner who took over, because I guess no one else was there anymore. So he was literally answering this. It's like, oh yeah, we'll get you taken care of. And he forgot about my my inquiry until I had to remind him about it. He was like, oh yeah, we'll get you taken care of. Blah blah blah, all this stuff. And I ended up finding him on Instagram, not because I was stalking him. It was after I was like kind of reading up on the kaBOOki stuff, when they were having the breakup with Duffin. I like looked him up. I was like, oh, he's got an Instagram page, so followed him, followed me back, and DM'd with him a little bit, telling him, I was like, yeah, I'm the guy who had the knob issue on this day, I don't know. And he was like, oh, which one? So it's like, oh wait, so he didn't even know which one of the issues, and he was telling about all these other quality issues they had with the bar. So it's just like, oof.
So I don't know, some technical error there. I don't know if we'll be able to like piece these together. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think that's, I don't know, I lost my camera or something and it stopped recording at that time. So anyway, you're talking about your
Yeah,
kaBOOki
kaBOOki.
experience with Guy. Now, one of the things that brought this on was there's
Yeah, I guess we
a
get to the point why we brought it up.
recurring post that has come up with their quality as of lately, and it looks like, and I know kaBOOki is like this ongoing shit show for
Yes,
home gym
yes. So
content
what
stuff.
happened is
So,
I have it up here. I have it up here
yeah.
so I can kind of give a quick recap. So it's this guy. He bought one of the discounted Cadillac bars when they were running a big promo, but I guess it might have just been a liquidation sale. So basically, it was a $200 off a kaBOOki produced Cadillac bar. So the issue was the first time he went to use it, like the welds on the sleeves just failed. And he posted about it in the Facebook group, and there were, more and more people that were saying, "Hey, mine failed too," or "Hey," like posting pictures of theirs that they got from the same sale and from the same like batch, saying, "Hey, yeah, it looks like the welds on mine aren't very good either," right? So it's like, okay, this post blew up. Everyone's talking about like, "Oh yeah, kaBOOki went downhill." Then there was a kaBOOki employee, I guess, like from kaBOOki Power, like the new side of things, who was in on the comments saying, "Hey, yeah, we'll get you taken care of. Just send, like, I'll DM you, and we'll figure out which order number you were, blah blah blah." But I guess this guy had already reached out, so that's kind of the reason he was posting on the page, because he's like, "Yo, like I reached out to customer service on top of this, and no response yet, whatever." So anyway, so now he posts an update. So his original post was December 7th. His most recent one was today, which is what is it, January 15th. In his follow-up post, he was saying, "I would not purchase directly from kaBOOki Power. There's zero customer service if you have an issue." So he's just recapping, that his bar broke, and the kaBOOki employee who reached out to him, I guess, like, now he's not even with the company anymore. And 5 weeks later, his refund is still pending with kaBOOki Power. So it's like, okay, so like the guy who was supposed to help, I don't know if he got fired, he quit or what, but, and yeah, and like other people in the comments here are saying same thing, it's like, yeah, like they haven't reached
Yeah,
out about our issues either.
it sounds like old kaBOOki, but it also sounds like the difference here is that old kaBOOki had a guy at the helm who at least wanted the company to succeed, and the new guy, Rich, does not give that impression whatsoever. I listened to he was on Jake's Garage Gym
Yeah,
radio
actually, I
show,
was the one who
and
connected them, so I kind of,
yeah,
I
yeah,
was, yeah,
I didn't get the impression that he was looking to grow that company in any way. And I don't think anybody who listened to it would have gotten that impression either. So it sounds like that's where we're at. I hope that these people, I hope that their situations are rectified in one way or another. In one way or another, meaning I hope that they are satisfied with whatever outcome that it gets. That's unfortunate. If not, I know there are other companies that have been kind of come and gone, and smaller ones and stuff like that, where people have kind of gotten screwed. And I hope that's not the case here. I hope that we're not going to see that, but it'll be interesting
yeah,
to kind of follow and watch it and see where it goes. As far as the company goes, but I really do hope that everybody's, goes
yeah,
through the way that they
yeah,
need.
the concerning thing though is the new owner here, his Instagram page has no mention of kaBOOki Power whatsoever anymore. The only thing he has on his page now is advertising his new memoir called Down to the Wire, because I guess he owns a wire company that's coming out in April. So
Oh yeah, he was
if
talking about that on Jake's show too. Like
yeah,
it was weird. It's weird.
yeah, and it's like Down to the Wire, how I quit gambling to win big. So it's like, okay, doesn't look good for kaBOOki. I mean, if there was any optimism left.
It sounds like his investment in the kaBOOki company was a gamble, and it sounds like he did not win big on that one. But what do
Stay
I know?
tuned, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Anyway, man, it's been good chatting with you. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, I guess, yeah, we'll see how much of that kaBOOki part got cut out though. So Spark Notes, basically, if it gets a little choppy there, basically they're still selling stuff, and there seems to be quite a bit of quality issues with basically everything that's coming out from what it looks like, and they don't really seem to have any customer service presence as of right now. So just beware if you're looking at any of the stuff directly from kaBOOki. As far as everything like kaBOOki that's coming from Rogue seems to be fine. Obviously, it's a Rogue's, established, they're tight run ship, so no concerns there. But if you're buying directly from kaBOOki, just heads up.
Yeah, the stuff from Rogue, you can order the stuff that whatever, I think it's just the Cadillac bar and the Transformer, right? That you can order from there. They
Yeah,
have
not the Duffalo anymore.
like the Cadillac and stuff like, I think as I understand it, Rogue Bill Henniger has a piece of the uh, patent on those things, right? And so that's why you're able to get those, and they'll build those there and satisfy those orders. So there's no hesitation with that. And they are still, well, I can't speak to the Transformer bar, but the Cadillac bar, that is still, in my opinion, the goat of that style of bar.
Seconded.
So I wouldn't hesitate to buy that one. But don't order it through kaBOOki Power. It sounds like it gets screwed. So anyway, man, it's good talking with you. I'll talk to you later.
Peace.
See ya.